This here is one of my many trimmers, and unfortunately it has died, so I thought I'd open it up and have a look, see if there's any easy fix to get it up and running again. It's the beard trimmer series 3000, and it is actually quite good. It normally lasts about 90 minutes. You can go right down to 0.5 millimeters, so you can get that real close shave, that close trim. But what's happened with this one is it's stopped working altogether. The charger still works, so it still takes charge, what it appears to, but when I switch it on, all I get is the flashing light, which seems to indicate battery dead. It looks a bit gunky inside. It's been well used, it's been my go-to one. But I'm going to open it up and just see if I can replace the batteries perhaps, see what battery's inside, and see how easy it is to open. There's your charging port. So, like I say, that still charges okay. Seems to indicate charging, but as soon as you try it, nothing happens. Now, I tried Spudger, so I had to be a bit more brutal with this one and then really jam it in. It was quite difficult to open, hence the gloves and various fights with it, but eventually I had to just rip it apart. It does just seem to clip together, so once you've kind of made a good start, you can peel it apart, and you can see it's got the clips, two at the top, two at the bottom, and that's what's inside. Really hairy, as you can see, lots of stubble in there, so I don't know how it's got in right to the bottom where the batteries are, but it's seemed to have just sucked everything in. So not very good sealing, definitely not waterproof, so it seems to have just, yeah, taken everything that's been trimmed off my face and sucked it into the mechanism, which probably isn't good for it. There's our batteries. They're the nickel metal hydride units, 750 milliamp hours, so nothing too crazy. I'd be surprised if they're completely dead. They're normally quite resilient, these type of batteries, but we'll get them off and we'll see if they just hold a charge. The motor's under there. You can just about see the silver motor. Nothing too impressive on that. And there's the adjusting mechanism, which was actually quite nice to use, easy to adjust. Nothing appears too blown. There's the charging section. So let's just get these out and see what we can find. It actually seems to have got a beard underneath the batteries there, which just goes to show how much has managed to get into the mechanism. There's loads of bits of stubble. I mean, it's a few years old, but yeah, that's quite a mess. What I'm doing here is I've just got some fully charged batteries, put them in situ, and just seeing if the machine works, and nothing. No motor action at all. So that says to me the motors, or possibly part of the circuit boards, died. So with these fully charged batteries, got the same issue, just the power light flashing orange. So nothing really working. I'm going to stick the batteries in the charger and we'll see what they come up with anyway. And indeed, the batteries were holding good charge, 1.32 volts and 1.33 volts. So I fully charged them up just to see if they would take a full charge, and they did. They fully charged. So I don't think the charger or the batteries are at fault. You can even see the little charging pins. That's just the port where the charging plug goes in. All those do is just touch on there. So you can see they just integrate straight into there, onto the board. And they are straight on there. So here's the back of the board. Nothing really too dramatic. Plenty of small components. Yeah, pretty impressive they've managed to get this onto a tiny little custom sized board. There's our switch.
and just a few other bits and pieces. So not really much to write home about. And something must have happened to the motor, I think, because it just doesn't have any power anymore. I've replaced the batteries, as we've seen, with different cells, known working cells. It doesn't really turn. So I think what's happened, judging by the amount of gunk that's got in here, you know, all my hairs and stubble, I think what's happened is I suspect the motor's got jammed. In fact, well, you can turn it okay, but something must have happened to that where it's just not really keeping any charge. Maybe it's just draining the battery instantly, so every time it's charged it just seems to die, and the motor doesn't seem to want to turn. So it's a shame. It's a real shame, because it's a nice little system. You can even see the tiny LEDs just here, tiny little lights, which is obviously for the on button. You just see through that on button there, the little on symbol. Those lights must flash, either green or orange, I think, for low charge or out of battery or on. But yeah, sign to the electrical recycling bin. But anyway, thanks for watching. That was that one.